Hey guys, Davis Mallory here today, Nashville-based DJ, singer-songwriter. Today I'm joined by the frontman of the emo pop-punk band Borderline Natives, Kevin Berry. We're going to learn his story, get to know his mission statement on today's episode of Leaving a Legacy. Don't let it shake your faith when it seems like you're so far from amazing grace. Don't let it shake your... Okay, so Kevin, tell us who you are.
Well, I'm a Nashville-based singer-songwriter. Like you said, I'm the frontman of Borderline Natives. And, you know, I'm just out here writing catchy, sad songs for, you know, everybody to listen to, I guess.
And what led you to sad songs?
Well, it just, to me, it feels like everybody can kind of relate to that emotion in their life at any point in any age. And I think for us as a band, when we are very honest about our lyrical content, those connect the most with our audience.
Yeah. What were some of the sad songs you grew up on or that you love the most?
Oh, like anything off of like the first few like Taking Back Sunday records, like Louder Now, like, you know, Air Operator, like what it feels like to be a ghost. Those are like super prominent ones, or like any of those really early, like, you know, I mean, bands like All Time Low, Boys Like Girls, like that kind of thing, or even like Third Eye Blind, like their debut has some of the really great like emo lyricism, and I just think that it's crazy that how mainstream that kind of became, like especially a song like Semi-Charmed Life, but the one after it is or before it is Narcolepsy.
Oh, I was thinking of Jumper.
And that's another super sad song.
Yeah.
That's crazy that they were like, that was so much heat on that first record.
Yeah.
But Narcolepsy, dude, is one of those ones that's super strong, sad lyrics. And it also has some really standout transitions that a lot of bands weren't doing that yet. You know, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And they were, because that was like super grunge was very prominent in that time that record came out, and it was very just straightforward, like verse bridge chorus, and they were doing these wicked transitions, and I just thought that was such a cool thing early on.
And what about your musical background? Like, how did you learn to play?
Well, my dad and his brothers were all musically inclined.
Yeah.
And they played in bands for years, so I got to kind of watch that as, you know, a young kid, watching, like going out to the garage, watching my dad play with his friends and stuff. And I think from a very young age, I was like, this is all I want to do. Was
your dad in a band himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did a lot of like, it was all cover bands.
Yeah.
You know, and he was also a DJ for a while too.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like very eclectic music taste. And I just think that's kind of where I got that from, of like just kind of searching. And I continue to do that today, where I kind of always, like, whether it's just on Spotify, I just start like searching, like, you know, I want like something new, you know, that the I haven't gotten pushed yet. Like, and then I'll find records that I missed, you know? So there's like bands, like more recently I've gotten into like Dance Gavin Dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they were, you know, it's been a band for a long time. They've been huge, but recently I was just like, let me check this out. And I just love that when that happens, because I get to go back in a band's discography and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed all these years that I could have been like just hammering these songs. So, you know, I still love finding music, you know, versus listening to the same 20 songs.
Yeah.
So.
And talking to me about where you grew up, like what part of the world, and what was your childhood like? Like,
I grew up in Michigan.
Okay.
In a little small town called Heartland, Michigan. And it was, you know, your typical thing. Like, we barely had like, I think it's built up a lot now, so because I haven't been there in a while, but we had like, you know, a Dairy Queen and a Taco Bell and a Walmart on the strip of the highway, and then it was all the sticks, you know, and like it was a town like everybody knew everybody, and it was one of those towns where it was like we had a really good, like a high ranking high school, so people from other towns would go to that school of choice kind of thing, and that really made an interesting dynamic of like the people who just lived around it and then the people that were chose to go to it. So, you know, and that it was all about like still music, just trying to get that going in high school and stuff like that. And I think I realized after high school that a lot of people were just trying to jam And I think I wanted a little more than that. And I was like, well, I have to pursue this. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. And then I kind of decided to make the move to Nashville.
When did you come to Nashville?
About 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it was a, huge different thing, because it was like I didn't live in a city like that before. So, but I adjusted to it. Like, really, I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is better,
Yeah.
So because I got worried about getting stuck in your hometown kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's people that are like, why would you ever leave? And I'm like, wow, there's like, what about the world?
Yeah.
There's so much more. So yeah.
But when you came to town, was Borderline Natives already a thing, or did you form that here?
So yeah, I formed it here. Basically there was like a couple different lineups, and then it always was like kind of friends of friends.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's like the lineup stuck, and then like the music kind of followed that, with like, oh hey, I really like playing with these guys, and then we just kind of like, hey, let's write some songs, and they just kind of kept getting better and better, But I feel like the reason lineups shift is because it's like the music is for a certain lineup and certain people, of like, I needed this person to make this song work, and maybe someone else couldn't bring that out of the song or something like that. So yeah.
And what is your writing schedule right now with your band? Are you guys writing regularly, or like?
It's kind of like if it all, I like write constantly. And I'll make demos and stuff, and like I'll maybe bring some stuff to practice. I'm like, hey, I want to just like really get this in a more formed demo version of this song to kind of have like a structure. So this is how it goes. Let's play it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like our bass player Bobby will do the same kind of thing. He'll be like, hey, we'll demo it out in Logic, and then be like, yeah, let's play it now, so we can kind of understand, and then we'll be like, okay, now we'll take it to session with whoever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's kind of sporadic.
Do you have a main producer in town?
Yeah, we've been working with Dan Swank for the first record we did. He mixed it, and then because it was during COVID, so no one was like together. Mm-hmm. And now this one, the first 6 of this record, he's done, and now we're working with. We're kind of selecting a couple more just to kind of like, because we've met a lot of people over the years, and I kind of want to like try to like have different perspectives and stuff like that, but keep the same vibe of the song. So there's a couple other people that we're gonna have work on some like the final couple.
Okay.
And kind of bring in a couple some producers that have a little more like pop influence. Because I've always liked pop music, and I just kind of want to like take our sound and kind of like, it really makes this beautiful thing, because it's like they have the layering and stuff with like vocal layers and harmonies and stuff. I really love that aspect of it all. So I like to kind of bring in people that are more focused on that, and that's kind of why, especially because me and Dan will spend hours building like vocal what do you call it? Like just vocal layers, and kind of just walking back and forth and being like, does it need a 6th harmony? So and I love doing that and finding that like that sweet, like treat of recording.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a whole team there's a lot of effort. So you have a new single and an EP that just came out. What is like, talk to me about the project that you just released. And
so that was like a combination of like a lot of the tracks that we worked on with Dan, and most of the time it's like me and Bobby and Dan like sitting in and writing everything kind of together, or like a pretty formed idea, and then Dan will come in and we'll be like, okay, let's like let's tune this up a little bit. We take out some of the like, hey, let's kind of chop this down, or let's make that a little bit longer, and kind of, take away some of the more, for lack of a better term, like juvenile songwriting techniques, and try to like, tighten it up a little bit. And so basically we've kind of put out a single we've been putting out a couple singles this year, just kind of, because basically like we play all these songs already, but we just want to kind of put them out one by one to kind of give them all kind of a shot to shine. And then when you come to a show, you already kind of know the songs, So that's what's cool. And specifically about this one that just came out, On My Own, that's a song that I wrote about friendship breakups, and one specific one. But usually I write a lot of songs about just girls and like that kind of like how they make me feel or whatever, that's kind of the main thing always. Cause usually if I date somebody, they'll become a song. And I don't like do it on purpose, but I'm like, you know what? That was interesting that happened, and I started writing that down. And this one was inspired directly of like a pretty big fight I had with a friend. And I remember it like, I don't really remember where songs come from. Usually they're just like, I have a melody for a while. Like a great example is like Pretty Little Hand Grenade. That was one we put out a couple months back. That line, that chorus line of just Pretty Little Hand Grenade, I've had that for years. I don't really know where that came from, but I've had that. And On My Own specifically was one where I was like I remember writing it when at like post fight, I was like, oh dude, this is good. Cause and that's what I'm saying of like, that's so real for me to put that out there. And it always just seems like it connects more versus like writing a story or like a song that you think your audience is going to like. And they're usually like, it's okay, it's whatever. But if you're very like honest about it, that's usually what they take. Like liking to more. Yeah. So yeah, this one I'm really proud of. On all the stuff we've done, but this one felt like I'm like, this is me being super just laying it out there. So
aside from this EP, like what's on the horizon for Borderline Natives? What are you guys working towards for this year and into the next? And
well, so this year we played our first like sold out show. We did it at in town at a venue called The End. We opened for Belmont and Can't Swim, and when we got the gig, it was totally random. Like the promoter that we've worked with a couple times was like, hey, do you guys want to play this? And I was like, absolutely. And then like 3 days before we played it, it went like sold out. And I was like, what? And then the day of, they put more tickets out and it sold out again. And I was like, okay, so that's cool, And so they oversold that venue, and it's a very tiny venue, but like, dude, to put like I think it was like 250 people or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was like, there's a lot of people in here. So that was like a big moment of like every show we've played where we played to nobody. It was like, that's why we played those shows for this,
Yeah.
So we're hoping to kind of get more stuff like that. And the tough part about it is those opportunities are never like planned. It's very like, hey, do you want to do this kind of thing? But we're hoping to do a couple more big moves like that before the end of the year. We're definitely going to put out it. Our goal is to get this record finished and out in the fall. And so we only have like 2 more songs to track, but they're written and they're ready to go. So it's like, it's just a matter of like getting in there and getting it done. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty big. And then hopefully, we want to start hitting festivals. I mean, so it's just kind of like, it's all working towards some kind of greater thing, and try to just play bigger stages and it just keep on our own path, So,
if you could collaborate with any artist like right now, who would it be?
Honestly, man, it would probably be like, the obvious choice is like Blink-182 would be amazing. And it like Mark Hoppus or Tom DeLonge, or like a band called Turnstile I really love. I would love to do something with them, or like even some of these local artists. Like we've gotten lucky enough to collaborate with like Caroline Romano and but a big one I would love, who I'd known them and I've played with some of their members, is the Foxies. I would love to do something with them because they are just, dude, they're insane. Yeah. Like that's a band that does it right, and I love them. Yeah, and it's really rare where you meet somebody in town where you're like friends and stuff, but you are a genuine fan of of their art. Yeah, and that's such a crazy thing, because that's like, especially someone like Caroline Romano is like, when I asked her to be on the track with us, she did a feature version of Pretty Little Hand Grenade with us. I was a huge fan of her song. So I was like, the fact that we got her on there, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And she keeps putting out insanely good music. So, yeah.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
As far as Nashville, like locally, what are some of your favorite restaurants or little hidden gems or coffee shops?
Oh, okay.
Places to hang?
Yeah. The Publix Deli is pretty cool, dude. I got shout out the Publix Deli, bro.
I get a pub sub this week, actually.
Dude, it's just, you can't beat that price, man. It's $6 or whatever, and you're like sick, dude. No, definitely like in like East, dude, like Dino's.
Oh yeah.
So great prices, and like their fries are just incredible. Like,
tell me this. I used to go to Dino's ages ago, and I remember them having a really delicious like grilled chicken sandwich. I went like 2 years ago, and it was like off the menu, and the food it was fried now or something. And I was like, this is not what I remember.
Yeah,
I feel
they made it
like
they made it like a hot chicken.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah, and they used to have like breakfast too. They don't, and now they do like they'll do like a walking taco and they'll put an egg in it. But you could get like a little breakfast thing. For like, it was like hash browns, eggs, whatever.
Yeah.
For like $6. And they took it off the menu.
So they did change the menu.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, they took a couple things off, but it's still like, dude, you'd be hard pressed to find a basket of fries for that cheap.
No. So you're in East. Now I know regionally where you are.
Yeah. Well, I live right downtown. Yeah. But like yeah. So I'll, we'll hang in East and like go to like I said, Dino's or No Quarter and like Hubba Hubba. Everybody goes to Hubba Hubba.
I've never been to either yet.
Never. Oh, dude, that's like a little dive karaoke bar.
Oh, okay.
And you'll go in and you're like, hey, look, all the local people. Or like, Red Door in Midtown. Everybody goes to Red Door. That's the watering hole. If you go in, you're like, I know 17 people in here.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like more like Blanco on Broadway, like down on 5th and Broadway. Super touristy, but great. And then there's the one, oh man, dude, I always
forget. Is Blanco part of 1230 Club?
It's like next to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's a really good spot. And then there's this place on, I think it's 2nd. I can't remember the name of it. But they have like these little tiny tacos and they're so good. And you got to get like 4 because they're like this big.
So where do you live downtown?
Like right off of 2nd. So like LC.
Oh, okay.
There. Yeah.
Okay. That must be wild to live right off like Broadway, so close.
It's like far enough that it's not too bad, but I do hear party buses all the time.
Yeah.
I always hear like, and I'm like, oh my God, dude. It's like in the background of like.
Do you feel the temptation to go downtown or do you kind of steer away from it?
I'll go down to see friends play because we like I said, we, as a band, we all fill in for other people. Yeah. So we'll all go do and we do our own Broadway thing too. We've done that. So it's like I'll go down to see who's playing on like a Wednesday or something. But like on the weekend, bro, I don't want to. No. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. I mean, I went down for the first day of CMA Fest and I was like, I'm good on this. This is
that was a lot.
And there's people like, we'll be here all weekend. I'm like, why? That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
We saw like, who's the dude who did 2 Dozen Roses?
Okay.
That dude from the we accidentally saw his show.
Okay.
Because it was a CMA Fest and he just like kept like for like 7 minutes he was like 2 dozen like he threw like 4 extra choruses on there. We're like, we get it. Okay. He's like, I want to hear you sing this one. I'm like, we did already, but okay, let's go, bro. So yeah, that was cool though. Like, but I think it's interesting is for like that kind of event, everyone's like, there's just so much music here this week. And I'm like, this is happening every single day. Like, and they just think it's for like that amount of time. But I'm like, this is how it is here, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like when I'll go down there, or like now that Cane's is down there honorable mention. I do like Cane's.
I haven't eaten there yet.
So good.
Yeah.
That's a crazy place to be able to walk around a Broadway and they give you your food in like half a second. You're like, cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah, and like 18 people greet you. It's really interesting. They're like, what's up? Welcome.
I was there during CMA, but it wasn't open yet. So it's probably open since, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. They were like taking a while for that one too. Everyone's hyping that up. They like were doing food trucks around the town to promote it. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, so we met when we did an NSYNC Backstreet Boy cover night.
Yes.
We played together.
Yes. That's, dude, I'll never
throw that in there.
I'll never forget that, bro. That was so funny because it was like our mutual friend Joe was like, hey, dude, you want to do the backing? I was like, yeah, dude, we'll do that. So we had to learn like 11 or 12
Backstreet Boy NSYNC songs.
Yeah, and luckily I have.
You'll probably never play again.
Dude, I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we play like for like those cover sets. We'll do like we'll do Bye 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 and we'll do Everybody and that's just so funny because like never in my life would I have thought that my like insane knowledge of boy bands come in handy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know all these songs. So because then I had to sing for the other one too, the other group for a minute too. So
because I pulled you in with me too.
Yeah.
I was like, it's hard for one human being to sing 5 guys' voices.
Yes.
So I was like, come help me out.
Yeah, there was that, and then the whoever it was who played before us, she's like, if anyone wants to, help me sing this song too, and I did like 3.
Was it Lisa Go?
I think so.
Yeah.
We did like 2 or 3 in that. And I was like, good thing I know all these songs.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah.
So that's you also grew up on a very pop menu as well.
Yes, dude. It's just funny if you really look at like all of those songs being done by like Max Martin is crazy because it's always him and his writing partner.
Yeah,
on all those songs, it's crazy, and the fact that he was able to like continue and shift with the times to even write stuff like "No Tears Left to Cry" or whatever.
Yeah,
which is so different from like Everybody or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And he really, that's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Just like studying or following the trends and not being bound by a past sound, but like still being relevant.
Well, I think they really knew they had something like for that. I mean, dude, whatever that was, like a 3-year run where it was like every pop hit was coming out of that studio.
Yeah.
And then they were like, now it's gonna change.
Yeah.
Because
do you go to LA some or other cities for creating music?
I haven't yet. I definitely want to get out there because when I moved, the decision was between Nashville and LA, and now I have a lot of friends who have like since like moved into town from LA or moved out to LA, so I have the options there, and I go on like writing retreats out there and stuff like that because it's like, I mean, dude, it's a super inspirational city, as is this, you know, but. That's something I definitely see us doing at some point this year, at least to do some more co-writes, because I do really love collaborating with people. I think it's so amazing what someone can bring into a song, and really coming in to serve the song. If that's kind of your thought process coming into a session and everybody shares that, you can create some great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. Well, so for you, like, what is your mission statement in life and even with the band? Might be 2 different things, but what do you feel like your purpose is?
I think my purpose has always been, like, it's kind of a mix of, like, creating really good art and, like, entertaining and trying to inspire positivity and, like, unity. Like, that's kind of, the name Borderline Natives, it is just about bringing people together who don't necessarily think that they belong together and kind of making it an even playing field when it comes to like different backgrounds and stuff like that, because like anybody can be a borderline native of a situation that they don't like and they can leave that and that's okay. You don't have to stay in that kind of like in a state of like self-doubt, I guess, or like and that's kind of the thing is when you come to a show, you become a borderline native, which is like, when I say it sounds kind of cheese, but it's like, it's really nice, because I feel like a lot of people will make friends at shows and, and I think that's a recent thing of like, since we've been able to play bigger shows lately, we've met real fans and it's so interesting to meet somebody who's like, your music really helped me through this, or I really like this song because of this, and it was for a different reason that I wrote it for. And they're like, but I really think it's about this for me. And I'm kind of like, wow, and I'm taken aback about, or like when people want you to like sign stuff, like sign your CDs, and you're like, I'm just like a person, but so but I love that because I think it's just a cool sense of community. And that's what we've really been all about, and I think like that all comes down to like being in a music scene is about, community.
Yeah.
And for me, I think like I really want to leave timeless songs, not like there's a lot of music now that comes out that's like very of the time. And I don't really know how to put that into more specifically, but I feel like, what I'm talking about, where it's just like, that was made this year, and you can tell, and it's like, will people be into that sound or whatever it is in 10 to 15 years? And some of it's sure, but some of it's like, you can tell what year this was made. Or like, and that happens throughout, trends. There's some songs that are stuck in 2011 when they came out, and you were like, that song was popping, but now it's like, that doesn't sound very good anymore. You know what I mean? But then there's other ones that I'm like, dude, this song came out in 64 and it still bangs. You know? So, yeah, it's really, for me, I want to leave songs that really like stick around.
And do you want to influence people through the lyrics in some certain way?
Yeah, I just want them I want it to really like move them in a way of like, this is me all the way. Like, I feel this on a serious level. I've been right there, or like, okay, this is like, or I really like doing like really smart lyrics, and like, obviously there's always like room for dumb lyrics, because that's like, dude, sometimes you're like, dude, let's just put something dumb right there that'll be really funny, stuff like that. But I really feel like when you really pull it apart and make really smart lyrical decisions, it's like, it's cool because people can figure it out as it goes on and the song lives, and people kind of, oh, that's interesting that they put that in there. Actually, I didn't think about that the first 100 listens. But now on like 102, I'm like, oh, dude, I get it. So yeah.
What's a dumb lyric you've written?
Oh, dude, let me try to think here, bro. I think it's it's kind of dumb, I think, but it's in our song, Real Ones, which is off our first record. It was, I remember being 18 when drinking was more appealing, which was like, I thought that was just kind of a throwaway. But then there's people that are like, I really love that lyric. And I'm like, that's so stupid. So I'm like,
but
stuff like that.
It resonates,
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of like, a lot of us had been there, like in high, it was always like cool. We weren't allowed to do it, and you're like, dude, let's go on the lake and just get absolutely wrecked.
What is your relationship like with alcohol now?
It's pretty distant. I mean, like, I think I did a lot of that early in life,
Yeah.
And now I drink socially, but I've always I like to be present.
Yeah.
And I think like there's some people that just love, there's a whole culture, especially this city, dude. This is a drinking city. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of tough sometimes when you're out, and I'm like, I don't want to get, hammed. Yeah. But some people are like, just let's do it. And I'm like, dude, that's all you, bro. Like,
you do you.
Yeah, you do you. I'm gonna be having a good time just being here. Thanks for bringing me out. Kind of thing. And because I've never felt the need, like I need that kind of. A lot of people need that to kind of break the ice, I think, and be more social. And I've always been like a person that's just pretty much like, what's up, dude? So, but, for fun. Yeah. Like, Yeah.
Has there been any like recent books you've read that it made an impact on you?
So I've always had this like big collection of like H.P. Lovecraft stories. So that I always refer to that. Like he wrote like Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
And The Time Machine. Okay. Like those ones. And it's very like science fiction writing. And he has a bunch of short stories. And I have that one. I have like Edgar Allan Poe, which is like, Quote the Raven, whatever. Mm-hmm. I always refer to those, especially like if I'm like trying to get some lyrics out. I'm like, let me read a little bit of this. I always think that's interesting. Or like The Lord of the Rings is always like a good one. I don't consider myself a strong reader, so that takes me forever to read those books. Sure. But I'm like a recent Lord of the Rings fan. Like I didn't watch those for years, and then I watched them all in a row, and I was like, dude, these are really good. Yeah. People don't talk about these enough, and everyone's like, yes, we do. Like, what are you talking? So then I'm gonna read the books, and dude, the books are something else. Bro. Really? There's so much. There's like songs in the back of the book that they're like not and then there's like a whole index of like how, like the lore to understand the book and everything. So that's kind of like I'll look through it and I'll be like, this is a lot, but those are great. And then Oppenheimer's book. Okay. Because that movie was amazing. I saw it 4 times. So I'm like, I gotta read. Yeah. American Prometheus. Okay. Yeah, I think is what it's called. Yeah. But that was really interesting.
Okay.
So yeah.
So leaning more fiction based for the most part, with Oppenheimer being the exception.
Yes.
But Lord of the Rings not so nonfiction.
No, that's no. Or like I've read like Dave Grohl's book was really good.
Okay.
Like it's just a collection of stories.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
His autobiography.
Yeah. Or it was more of like, just it's called The Storyteller. And it's because he's always been, especially like on stage and stuff, he's always telling stories.
Yeah.
So that was super good. It was very good. So yeah. Or like, whenever like a musician will like drop kind of that kind of thing, I always want to like get, because I'm super interested in like how bands get started and like more so I'll read like a whole Wikipedia page about a band I just discovered. And I'm like, I want to know every detail about how they got whatever and, how they got their start and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I do all my reading is like that and Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit's hilarious. What a place.
Which forums do you follow on Reddit?
It's like, I follow a lot of video game ones for sure. So that like I've been playing a lot of like Hitman and like there's some wild ones in there too. I can't remember. I forget all these subreddits because I just look at it on the thing. But or dude, it's crazy. There's just like there's so specific things on Reddit. It's insane.
Yeah, I follow Zelda.
Good. That's a good one. Yeah, dude.
And I follow Maui just because I visited there a few times.
Okay, yeah. No, that's really interesting that, like, places have subreddits.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like if you're in a town, you can find a subreddit for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, what's up here?
Because I go to Maui, not a lot, but it's mostly news. And people are like, what's going on down at the gas station? There's a shooting. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting to me. Like, what is going on in Maui right now? I'm here in Nashville, but I'm curious.
Yeah, dude, even Nashville is a subreddit. It's crazy,
oh, for
bro.
sure. I should probably follow Nashville. I don't.
It's, it's fun. It's the same thing of like people, writers around, all that stuff. Crime, whatever. It's just, it's so interesting that that's the only site that's like locked in, So.
Is there anything that you would want to share with younger generation that maybe is like a life lesson you've learned or something that's a revelation of some kind that might be
I think
worth sharing?
If anything, especially how the music industry is now, it's like it's very saturated, right? Because anybody can make a song.
Yeah.
Even AI can make a song that sounds pretty good, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there's a really great example. There's a song that I found on TikTok that I like, and I can't figure out if it's AI or not, which scares me. I'm like, this is really good, but I can't tell if this is like a real person or not, And like the account has like, it's just a name and that song, and I'm like, this is either a guy who just started or this is an AI.
Yeah.
Someone that built this and put it up on Spotify. But I would say like, dude, we're a very number-focused industry now. Mm-hmm. I think it may have always been like that, but I think like the danger is that like now you have it right here all the time. Especially you like we just put out a song today, right? And it's killing me not to look at the numbers, because I'm like, it's right here, but it's so bad, dude.
Yeah.
It's so you have to set like boundaries for yourself because it's like you will drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to like compare yourself to other artists and stuff, especially if like, let's say there's, artists that that have like songs coming out the same day. And the only thing that, even if they're in your scene, the only thing that you have in common is that the song came out the same day. Like it doesn't affect each other, but it's really hard to not think that it does. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody has a song come out, you're like, oh dude, they're taken away from people seeing ours, and they're not, because it's like, maybe the same people will see it, but it doesn't like connect, and it's so hard to like not think about that when you're all focused on numbers too, or like getting playlisted
or comparing numbers from yours to theirs, for example.
Yeah, and it's like that's I always thought about that, like when we have like those we've both gone to those kind of like those mixers for like that was the last time we actually hung out was that Yep mixer.
Yeah.
At the W or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, that was funny. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I never, like, nobody ever, like, goes, show me your Spotify for artists.
Yeah.
Let's compare. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
If you were to do that in real life, let me see yours. Just because it's like, I'm not going to bash it. I'm like, look how little I have.
Yeah.
And then people would be like, look how little I have.
Yeah. But I mean, I think throughout, even in like, I was thinking about this yesterday. I think I finally have a nice car, but I had lunch yesterday with a guy who has a much nicer car than mine. I used to drive a Honda Civic. It was nothing to be proud of. But I remember seeing his car and thinking like, oh, his is nicer than mine. And I feel like no matter where we are in life, we might always have that feeling. I mean, you have a mansion, but you can see the guy next door who has the bigger mansion than yours, and you feel that feeling. So that feeling is something you have to kind of learn in life to cope with and deal with, because someone's always going to have more streams than you or more followers than you or something more than you, you know? So it's like feeding that and being okay with where you are and what you have, and just being satisfied and liking exactly what you have. And just being thankful exactly for what you have.
Because you have, you know, you never know what more you have. Because there's always it's the same thing. If you're comparing yourself, someone's comparing them to you. You might not even know that person or met that person, whatever. But, you know, and a lot of it too, like, especially with social media, dude, like, it is all... And it is and always has been smoke and mirrors, you know, like everyone's like, dude, I'm out here killing it. I'm like, right. But like on a Wednesday at 3, you're probably like, God, I'm not feeling great today. You're not posting that.
Yeah.
You know, you're just being like, here's the highlights, you know, and that's kind of, I don't know. You have to like, that's a big thing too, man. Like it's like oversharing versus like being honest. There's a very, very clear line.
Yeah.
And you don't want to like, I don't know. You know, that it's interesting because you really don't want to like, maybe you don't need, everyone doesn't need to know everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's another coping mechanism. It's like, let me get this out on Instagram.
Yeah. When you said smoke and mirrors, you made me think of an artist friend of mine whose name I will not mention, but she's very kind of braggadocious in her posts. Like, I'm killing it in all of her posts. And she just moved to New York City. And she made a video like, I'm in New York City and I'm performing my songs, but the video is her at a karaoke bar. And the comments were so mean towards her. Everyone was very honest. Like, you're at a karaoke bar, anyone could be doing that. And then she responded to one of the mean comments and made another video of her singing. And she's almost like enjoying the mean comments and making more and more from them. But there is that thing about like, once you get successful, the haters find you, and then the haters is a sign that you're doing something right.
Right, yes.
Or always. Is it not? But then also, like, what if you took those mean comments and actually they affected you? Because I scrolled through them just because I was curious. I saw her post a mean comment. I'm like, let me go read the mean comments. And some of them were very mean.
Yeah.
And I think if I was getting a lot of mean comments, it might kind of sit into my soul a little bit, and it might kind of like affect my like make me second guess myself, or maybe think like maybe I should quit, or maybe I'm not talented, or maybe the world hates me, you know? So, I mean, have you had to experience anything like that yourself? And is there a lesson you've had to learn through any of that? Or
we've been pretty fortunate that everyone's been like pretty chill.
Yeah.
Which is not an invitation to not be like that, please. We've been but like, you know, I don't know, man. I feel like we're very fortunate that we've been around for a while at this point, and we've played to nobody and been told everything in the book that you're no good, whatever, in person, right? So it's like, okay, well, that sucks for sure. But then it's like, someone said that to my face, you know? So a comment online, you're like, all right, cool, man. Like, whatever. So that kind of like builds that and helps that kind of like put it into perspective, you know?
Yeah.
And like, also, if you really believe what you're doing in, or believe in what you're doing,
I like believe what you're doing in.
If you believe what you're doing in, bro, it's, you know, I think that helps with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, if you're being like a genuine person, I think that also kind of helps ground you, you know? Because like, they're the same effect, dude. Like, there's things you do as an artist that look like you will do them simply because they look good for your brand or career. You know, whether it's like tribute show or whatever you want to call it, like events kind of thing. You could go to events because you're like, well, this will probably help out.
Yeah. Somewhere
along the line, we'll meet somebody we need to meet, you know. But like, you're doing that purely for that, you know. So it's like, but as long as you know, like, you're not delulu about it, that you're like doing it for this thing, you're like, okay, like that I think will help with that. But that's when you get to that where you're referring to of like, that person is convincing themselves that they're like yo, I'm out here in New York at Madison Square Garden, just ripping songs, and they're at a karaoke bar. And that's why people were like, you're crazy. You know, you're losing a little bit, you know? So, yeah.
I guess you might have set herself up for that, right?
Sure. Yeah. But you're losing the plot a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you fully know what you're trying to convey here.
Yeah.
You know? Versus like a kind of thing where like you go, somebody bring, like, a great example is like the sold out show we played. We were given a platform by some very nice artists, and they sold that out, and we were there. We know that. Versus me being like, we did that all ourselves.
Yeah,
we sold it out, no problem, bro. Yeah. But I'm like, we did for sure, did not. We were given, and that's the kind of like reality. You need to humble about it. You know what I mean? Because it's a great opportunity, but like you have to remember how it happened and like respect. Because like, dude, those dudes were on tour. In the thick of it, you know, and all of their guys were great, like their TMs, like it was awesome. And I was just like, we've always tried to be the most professional in the room, you know, especially when it comes to, because dude, you have no idea, like if a tour is bringing on opening acts from the city, you like whatever city they're in, you have no idea how some of those bands are, and I'm sure you've met artists that are like, dude, this dude's like insufferable, you know? So it's like you have to go in with that, like, dude, the last band was probably, what if they didn't respect the set times and the turnover and the changeover times, and they were like rude to whatever, the merch person and everything. So you have to kind of go in being like, that could have happened, and let's set a good example. Yeah. You know, so you never know. So
is that something your family taught you? Maybe your dad taught you that kind of, or
that
kind of manners, or
like,
just like
for sure,
business ethics.
Yeah, dude. Whatever.
College.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like whatever Tim McGraw said in I Like It, I Love It. He's like, my mama and daddy tried to teach me courtesy. Yep. Just like that, man. Yeah. That's yeah. They were very, you know,
setting you up for success.
and being and like really kind of being able to look at something and be really appreciative of like what you have.
You have brothers and sisters?
I have one sister.
Does she do music?
No, she does she has arts. She does like graphic design. Oh, cool. And she has like her own business called Hydro Hippie. We actually did a collaboration with them recently on one of our merch pieces. Nice. And that was really fun. Yeah. Because that was my sister. So I was like, you want to do a shirt? She's like, yeah. So she makes like, she'll do merch. She'll do like rolling trays. She dips mugs and stuff with like custom designs, and then puts the design into the cup and everything like that for like just custom orders and stuff. So she's really, really talented, incredible,
fantastic. So runs in the family, the creative genes. And,
I guess so. You could say that. Yeah,
the support you guys needed to pursue your careers. And creative ventures.
Yes, it's funny, man, because like I said, I've always just been like, music has been my one thing, and I just like, I can't stop doing it. You know, even when it's like rough, like those rough months of like, maybe you have downtime between shows. Yeah. I get really like I get on the very like, it's not like, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a depression era that I get, but like when it's like, we don't play a show for like another month or something, and I'm like, okay, and then like week 2 into that, I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm worthless. I have nothing. I'm worth nothing. You know, and it's just funny because it's just like, it's such a important thing.
Yeah, motivator. You're excited about something to plan for, and
and then you're like, well, we have nothing, and I'm like, well, great, I'm worthless. No, so I mean, we'll probably never play again. You know, every single time we're like, either the show was good or bad, it's like, dude, that was it.
Yeah. I used to have this feeling, maybe you had the same, where it's like before a show, I would get really stressed. During the show, it would be fun and exhilarating. After the show, I would get kind of self-critical. I'd be like, oh, I could have done this differently, or I made a mistake. And then I would kind of go through that repeated pattern. Do you have that kind of thing, or do you not?
Yeah,
what is yours?
A little bit. I think like now that we have like, now that we've kind of made our show a more like, or more of a show, like we run tracks and stuff like that, so now it's kind of like more planned a little bit. That has helped with like that before show nervousness, unless we have disputes with like the sound person, and then I'm like, oh my god, this can't happen. And we've learned that lesson the hard way of like, hey man, they're like, we don't have time for a sound check for you guys. I'm like, you're gonna have to go ahead and make one though, for sure. You're gonna have to be like, just give me 5 minutes, dude. Just let me just hear this run through my ears and have the click not come through the house, and I'll be off the stage, you know? Because it's like, because once you commit to doing tracks, you have to commit to doing tracks.
Yeah.
You don't, because you don't want to abandon them because you spent
so much time creating them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of help. But we always do, like, we get off. I'm like, all right, guys, like, what number was that? We always do that. We're like, well, okay, it's out of 10.
Okay.
It's like, 7.
Okay.
Why was it 7? Well, we missed that fill.
Oh, yeah.
We missed, hey, dude, you missed the cue in the, you know, whatever. And I put stuff, I do all the the cues with, I just say them. Because I never bought a cue pack. So I'm like, dude, I'll just run through them real quick, and I'm like, intro, 2, 3. So I'll say shit in there. I'll be like, hey man, don't miss it. 3, 4, you know.
And it's pre-recorded. Yeah. Okay, got it.
So they're hearing me singing, and I'm doing the cues too. So that's really, I always put really funny stuff in our cue.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but like, so yeah, like we're very like honest with like, hey man, like that. I missed that one thing, or like vocally, I wasn't feeling great about that too, because like. We all kind of sing, but I do put harmonies in track too, which is an interesting thing to get used to, because now you have to kind of hit pretty close every time, because now you have so many harmonies, and you don't want to be the one that's not in tune with what you're saying, and it's you know. So I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure, you know.
Maybe you could put the lead in there and then sing the harmonies.
Yeah, that's also an option too. So I always put like the harms in, and I'm like, if you guys want to sing too, it'll just make it like it's 6 people singing.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's fine, because they're in the tracks, you know.
Nice.
So that's like, that was something you used to.
That's AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know. It's very, we're pretty critical about, but I think that's good, man. I think if you're critical about shows after them, it means you really want it. If you thought it was good and it sucked, that would be a problem. You know, you'd be like, well, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, well, you don't care then, you know? And there's plenty of artists we play with who just simply did not care about their performance, and you're like, or like, even like, dude, when it comes to like promoting, and I don't know how many shows that you've like done in town that have been set up like that, but there's plenty of bands that you'll be like, let's play, and they're like, all right, cool. You book it 3 months out, and they don't promote it, and you're like, all right, well, it's 3 months away, so whatever. And then like it's 2 weeks out, they're not promoting it, and then finally day of show they'll start promoting it, and then like 3 people will show up, and they're like, why didn't anybody come? I'm like, does anybody know you're playing tonight? And you would think like it would go hand in hand with being in a band as promotion. But there's just bands that just simply don't do it.
Yeah. Their business ethics are just not there. They don't see it.
Same. You know, we've played with bands that were writing the songs that they're going to play before they went on, and they were like, I think this is like a bridge. I'm like, you're writing this now? That's crazy. That's wild, bro. And then they like restarted the song. I don't even want to get. That was really bad. That was really bad.
Welcome to my songwriting session.
Yeah.
So well, hey, is there a favorite song you have right now, not your own, that you've been vibing on?
Dude, you know, that's a great question. I don't forget the actual one. I think it's in my likes right here. I think right now, dude, I'm vibing off of it's a song. There's a couple. There's a song called Weed Pen by Drug Church. I love that right now. How Do You Feel by The Main. Touch, that's by The Main, that just came out. And just for one more, Dakota by Rocket to the Moon.
Okay.
I bang on that often, dude.
Cool.
So yeah.
And what's your next release as the Borderline Natives?
I think we're gonna do, like I said, like fall. We don't have like an exact date yet, but fall we're gonna either have the rest of at least the single come out, but in the best case, the rest of the record.
Dope.
So yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear it.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah. See you around.
Yeah, man.